Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to WLTK-DB. Let's Talk Radio. We are going to be having Missy Hart as our guest today. She'll be coming in about 10 minutes, and we're going to talk with her. You can pop down your questions for Missy, whether it is a mediumship question, psychic question, intuitive development question. Same here. We love to take questions. And also later on, towards like the last 20 minutes or so, we're going to be doing readings. And we're just going to be doing one question readings, whether it's with cards, what we feel, numerology. So it's what we like to do sometimes for fun, to just share that energy together and also to give back. We love giving back. So Missy will be on in a little bit, and we'll be doing readings. So the name of the game is just pop down your questions and your comments. Hey, Chris, what's up? It's great to see you. Hey, Mo, happy Wednesday to you too. And hey, Hartendon, nice to see you as well. We're just gathering people up, and we'll be taking your questions too, even during the show, but we'll be actually taking the readings at the end. Absolutely. Okay, cool. Yeah, Harditon, we'll definitely touch on that question. I'm gonna have Missy here for it as well. I want her take on it too. So just keep expressing, though. I love your expressions and your considerations. So I always focus on a topic kind of before I bring in my guest. And it's kind of like the theme. And the theme that I was thinking of before I came on today, instead of a word, it's kind of more like a thought. And the whole thought is not being ready. Okay. And the thought kind of extends itself sometimes to even not having support. Okay. So usually, I think when people second guess themselves, or they want something, or they're curious about something, but they're not able to do it on their own yet. And that could be because they don't have their skill, built up, that maybe they don't have licensing, maybe they don't have a certification, some of these things you actually need others to progress. And it's very healthy. You would want to surround yourself around others. You would want to be in a group energy to help build you, shape you, mold you. They have to be good people. But that synergy actually creates a new way of thinking, a new way of being. It evolves yourself. That is not the only way, but group energy is very, very beautiful when good people and good intentions are around. I highly suggest it. But sometimes we're not able to find the right community. Sometimes we're not able to find the right even person to guide us, like a teacher or a mentor. And sometimes, let's say we do know what to do, it's just maybe we have confusion, and we have, again, that second guessing, or we could be going through something internally. We could be depressed, emotional, anxious. There's so many factors of why we're thinking our dreams and not doing our dreams. Or it doesn't have to be the fully shaped dream, why we're wanting to do something, but we just have the obstacle of I don't know, I'm not doing it, or I don't know how to do it. Okay? Sometimes there is the knowing, and sometimes there isn't the knowing. And whether or not you have that in place, you do need a certain type of support system. The beautiful thing with spirit and spiritual development is, no matter who's around you, you could be in the desert, you could be on an island, and you could be a one woman or one man on the island. Spirit is always willing and ready to support. The thing is, you have to show up and do the work. And that goes from someone who's a beginner to someone who's advanced. And showing up and doing the work is sitting down, listening, and meditating to start most times. You can't just talk to the air and use your mind to rationalize. Like, look at the wind with your physical eyes. Look at the ceiling. Where are you? I need guidance. I need a sign. Or staring at, you know, just the idea like a man in the sky. Where are you? Why can't I see you? Why can't I hear you? It starts with being quiet. And I talk about that a lot. So there is that avenue. And once you connect to something greater than yourself, you actually always do have support. You always do have a support system. So there's always that. And I encourage you to drink from that well. Also, which is really important, is spirit support is more powerful than human support, but we're living a human existence. And so we do need human support to feel connected. And human support is something that most times we can wrap our head around. Most times when someone's going through the ringer, and they don't have any prior history of meditation, prayer, or connecting to spirits, or being energy sensitive, that is a tall order for just tell someone to go and meditate. It really is. I talk about it because it works, but it's a tall order. And that's why we need people who are just one step ahead of us. They don't have to be rock stars. They don't have to be, the best in their field. Just one step ahead of us that have a good heart. And maybe we just need them for just a leg of the journey, right? But to continue to put ourselves in environments where we're not alone. It's so important to talk about because I on my own journey, I remember I started my psychic development, and I want to really quick say hi to Lottie. Hi, Lottie. I started my psychic development, and it's okay that it was this way. Excuse me. None of my friends were interested in psychic development. They weren't, or mediumship. I think I knew of sometimes people at times that were interested in the novelty of it, um, for what it represented on the outside. Like, oh, that sounds witchy, or that sounds, you know, esoteric, right? And it wasn't beyond anything but that. And that's okay, because if you have an interest, you have an interest. And if it's something, magical to you, but you're not exactly truly curious on what it is, that's still okay. You like the creativity, the wonder, the magic of it. So, I had some people kind of curious on like, oh, that's interesting, right? But there was never anything beyond that. I even had one friend who's very scientific, kind of at heart, and sometimes we'd like test things together. It wasn't his interest. It just wasn't his interest. It was my interest. So I was still interested as I was testing, exploring, unfolding my gifts. I had the support system as a friend that was interested as well, but he was interested for only so far of a period, right? Because he wanted to continue to learn about other things. And that's the thing. Like sometimes when we're curious and we're growing, we're like, let's dabble here, let's learn about this. Is this real? Is that real? I want to test that. And that's what a scientific mind would do, continue to test, explore, and learn about the world. And I just was so in love with this work. I was like, well, yeah, I'm always interested for more, of course, but I just I'm still here because there's so much to explore here. Like I've only tapped in, you know, 0.1%. I got to keep going. You keep looking over there. I'll stay here. So, the support system was there with lifting me up as a person, right? But no one had interest in this field, and that's okay. And even some of the teachers and the mentors throughout this, development that I had, sometimes they just weren't the right fit because they were teaching things that I personally wasn't interested in. Certain mediums teach certain ways, and it's not because we can't do it. It's not because of their personality. It's just sometimes just the style that they teach, and sometimes it is their personality, right? But sometimes it's just the style we teach. And sometimes, no matter what you pay a person, what you intend to be a part of a group or a community or even a one-on-one, sometimes that teacher or mentor just isn't there to be there for you. That's what I'm trying to say. They're not able to be there for you. And it's not because it's anything personal, it's just because the energies don't align. And sometimes maybe they aren't perceptive as a teacher on a psychic level. Sometimes maybe they're just there on an instruction level. And a lot of people come into this work and they're looking to be healed or they want to be seen and understood. And they use that, like, if I'm heard, if I'm seen, if I'm made comfortable, then that is me being green lighted to go forward because, these are my people. Or if I'm seen and I'm understood, that means somebody is real. And so that's the only way I can open up. And I want to tell you that support systems are so important, but they can't inhibit you going forward if you don't have the proper support system. Kind of the final thing I'm going to say on it is, I would say in some ways when I first started, I was more passionate about some of the things that I teach now because there was so much fire in me. And I think sometimes with myself, sometimes in places I did not have the proper support system. I can share many stories going forward of that. Um, that sometimes it snuffed out my fire. So in ways I'm regaining back my fire. In other ways, my fire is stronger. In other ways, my fire is the same. Okay. But I know many people, and I felt the same way when we don't have the proper support system because we don't feel like we're ready, because we are, judging ourselves. We want to know that we're in the place, or sometimes we just need someone in our corner. Sometimes we can step back. And I just want to put it out there for you to keep looking, keep searching for good people. And most of all, if you can't find them around you, or if they're not the right fit, continue to pray, meditate, and connect to spirit, because that way you are always never alone. And regardless of if it's 1, 5, or 10 years, things will start to make sense and you will feel supported in some way if that is indeed your intention. Okay, so you can ask questions about that. Sure, if that's the topic of the day. We're going to bring Missy in a moment. We're going to go to a break. We'll be back for talking with Missy and readings. And hello, everybody. I'll say hi to you when I come back to you as well. Take your comments and questions. Thank you so much. See you in a few.
Brandon Wainwright, author of Tyson's Gift, How an 8-Pound Canine Became a Man's Greatest Spiritual Guide, and owner of Tyson's Gift Healing Arts, offers Reiki as well as color and sound modalities to anyone seeking physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual healing. While color and sound healing, a technique that brings balance and health to one's chakras and body, must be provided in person. Reiki, a Japanese form of energy healing, can be given in person or equally effectively from a distance. For more information or to make an appointment for a session, please visit TysonsGiftHealing.com. That's TysonsGiftHealing.com.
Hello, and welcome back. We're going to bring Missy in a moment. I want to introduce her. Missy Hart is an intuitive medium who has worked worldwide with clients for over 2 decades. She's the founder of the Spirit Ed, classroom and community where she guides and teaches others about spirit and energy. Please welcome the wonderful Missy Hart.
Hello, Miss Kelly.
Hello. How are you doing, Missy? Welcome.
I'm fantastic, lady. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's hot over here, so I'm drinking the fluids always. Having some tea. How about you?
It is warm here. I'm sitting with lots of air conditioning and water.
Lots of air conditioning and water. That's important. Yes, absolutely. It's great to have you. It's great to talk to you. I know you through like Lisa Williams. I've never taken a class with you. I've run into you like over the years. I saw you like the last time I think I physically saw you in person is at Celebrate Your Life for just a second.
Yeah, you were busy running your butt off. I think, didn't you help with that one?
Yeah, I wanted to be a part of it. It was really super fun behind the scenes. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I bet. I bet it was. And I was there like with my mom and all that stuff. So I didn't get to really like experience that, but it would be so cool to do.
Yeah, they haven't had anything in Chicago. That's where we're from, everybody. We're from the Chicago area. Where exactly are you located, Missy?
I'm about 45 minutes south of the city.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I was too, but I was 45 minutes west of the city growing up. Um, but gosh, yeah, last time I saw you was at Celebrate Your Life. We were actually diving into like that speakers program because we were looking to, build our platforms and learn about how to share more and I guess like just extend teaching, right?
Yes,
And you absolutely have done that. You have your own like school and community. That's amazing.
I do. And, things are, girl, I was listening to you before we came in here and you were talking about timing. And, anyone who's doing anything, I'm just going to add to what Kelly said as far as like, um, timing and make sure that you're praying and using your support network and that kind of stuff. And even if it's not a physical support network, we really do have that support network on the other side. And the whole timing thing, like if things would have shaped 10 years ago, I don't know that they would have been ready. It seemed like at the times that I was pushing the hardest, I probably wasn't ready, and everything is just kind of fallen into my lap in the most graceful kinds of ways. I'm not a very graceful person. So when things kind of like, come with a sense of ease, I think it really helps.
Absolutely. You said everything kind of fell in your lap. Did you plan for any of that to happen or did you just give up and it fell in your lap?
No, to be honest with you, I've never planned any of these things. It's like, um, I started so young with the tarot cards and stuff like that. And that was all just a weird little series of events that happened. I ran away from home and I joined a carnival. And
Wow.
as a carny traveling, across the country, I met a psychic who told me I was a psychic and she gave me a deck of tarot cards. And that's what started that. I was 17 years old. And then mediumship just kind of happened one day. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't ask for that. And then at the time that I took the Lisa Williams course, I had been a working psychic medium for quite some time with zero training. And I honestly dove into that because I, I just felt so impressed to do it. And I wanted to know why. I wanted to know why I could do what I could do. I wanted to know how I could do what I could do. And I wanted to know what the hell I was supposed to do with what I could do because I had no idea. None. And so, yeah, nothing. Um, like I wanted to do so much. I remember wanting to be, a big time speaker or, like a John Edwards or a Lisa Williams or something like that to really get into this space where I'm game for anything that happens. And I'm just going to continue to allow myself to be led and guided to wherever that is. So there was really no planning. I mean, I brainstorm a lot, try to, and I'm like seeded with little inspirations, I feel like, but I don't know if I'd call it planning.
It's the energy's there, you're like something like this, right? And then and then you're like, oh, okay. And then just does it surprise you or you're like, okay, yeah, I remember thinking about that.
You know what surprises me the most is when I have the oomph to follow through. Girl, I'm a Pisces. I know you love numerology. I'm a number 8. I live in the clouds most of the time. I mean, absolutely in the clouds, and I'm not good at follow through. So when something actually comes to a point where it just continues on, I'm patting myself on the back and kind of knowing that it was meant to be.
For sure. Because you're just kind of, you're invited to show up places and then you get things done, right?
Mm-hmm.
You must be like really empathic then, and you're just pulled to where you go without, thought.
For the most part, and I'm very spontaneous when it comes to like the big decisions. It's like I'll wake up and make a huge, like all of a sudden, like, oh, today's the day I'm going to do this, and I'll just sit down and do it. I'm not very scheduled or regimented or any of those things, but you're right. Like as soon as something comes to me, it's like, pow, I'm doing it.
It's true. Like I always, whether it's astrology or numerology, I like to talk about that with people because it's really fascinating. Um, like my husband, you talked about you have like a lot of Pisces energy. My husband has a lot of Pisces energy. It's very similar, kind of, and I go like, where he's very logical too, but the way he does things, he's like, I just wait for things to come to me. I'm like, oh, just, but don't you want? But it really does work for him. It really does, and good things do just kind of drop in his lap, and I'm like, that's fantastic. And I have a Virgo brain, Virgo and Mercury and Virgo and Mercury. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I don't like to be a planner, but planning helps me a lot. So people operate in such different ways, and it's true for them. And you talk about how you're an 8, so you were born to have a business and you were born to guide people and oversee people, and so that makes sense. Of I remember, you're gonna have to update me on it, but you were creating like the Woo Center, I believe. What was it
So
called?
I did. I created the Woo Warehouse,
There you
and
go.
actually, I have let that go. So, talking about my crazy, just all of a sudden make decisions. I, for some reason, what were you talking about? You were saying how you've kind of like lost your passions for certain things over time, and there were things that maybe I thought that I wanted to do for a while. But for me personally, I'm just going to ask you this. I think this is some really like personal kind of things. I got kind of burnt out for a little while
Yeah.
doing
Yes.
readings and, stuff, and really intense burnout, like in the past, like couple of years where it's like, man, I'm not able to share myself as much as I'm used to sharing myself.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's real. A lot of people who I've talked to who, you have a chance to kind of be vulnerable with them where it's not just like a business discussion, right? They talk about burnout a lot, and around the last couple years is when they really felt it. And so some people are still kind of healing from burnout, and other people are kind of just getting back in the water. That's very real. And burnout, if you want to share too, it comes from so many different things. Sometimes it comes from lack of support. Sometimes it comes from just not having a focus, or just overdoing it, not having the proper schedule, and just kind of going and going. It's just there's different ways why people burn out and why they do. How did you find your burnout?
I want to say that my burnout was probably a mixture of a bunch of stuff, and like just because I'm a spiritual teacher or whatever doesn't mean that my life doesn't have shit that comes along with it. So it's
Oh yeah.
like people like to put us up on these pedestals, and it's like, man, I am just as human as you are, and my life gets just as chaotic and just as, crazy. Like, and so I think some of it, I homeschool 2 kids. I have a home. I'm running a business. I have 4 animals and fish, and I have life, and I have just everything else going on. And so my schedule, and I actually have 2 podcasts, and I have all of these things. And so, like, um, I did really have to find a good schedule. So some of the burnout was just like, man, I'm working every day feeling like I'm spinning my wheels because every day I still have to cook 3 meals a day because my kids are home. Every day I have to educate my kids because I've chosen to homeschool. Every day I have to try to fit in time to work and clean. And, so I was burning out like at home, not having the greatest of schedules. But then I think the other part, and I talk about this a lot, is I think the world has been so chaotic for so many years that we're dealing in a vibration as a collective consciousness that I don't think we recognize. We had COVID, which was just a massive amount of energy. Like it was just you're talking about 7 billion people participating in the same vibration of something. That is not anything that we've ever experienced, like on an energetic level, I don't think. And so I think that is something to do with it. I think it was a lot of different things, but I woke up one day and I was driving to work at my office. I had an office and I had a little shop attached to the office and a little warehouse space. That was the warehouse where we could, just do fun things. And I was on my way to work one day and decided to let all of it go and just move everything online and all of that stuff. And it was like 1,000,000 pounds of weight coming off of my shoulders. And so I knew, like, in that, and it was, like I said, a split-second decision. It was like I woke up, I'm driving there going, all right, I'm done with all of this. And I don't even have an operational website right now. I have no website. I have no automations. I have no mailing lists. I have no scheduler. I have nothing. I cut everything off. All of
Wow,
it.
you're in transition. Wow. Wow. So,
Big.
wow. Wow. So then are you in transition with the school too? How are you then teaching? What are you currently doing?
So right
In
now
the
I'm just I'm just using Facebook for the most part. I still have my Zoom operational and I have all of that stuff. People still get a hold of me for sessions and stuff like that. And so that's it. I have a website ready to go for the most part. And as soon as I feel like, pushing the publish button, that'll be back up and operational. But, um, it's like I really just needed to sit and kind of be still for a little bit. I was still working, so it's not like I wasn't, but that burnout just, I had to bring things down a notch.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen more than one intuitive like shut down their website or dismantle their like public page. Like they're back at it now, or like another person they made an announcement like I'm stepping away for doing readings, or I'm only doing these type of readings because it's a lot. It's a lot, and this work you can't separate it from your personal life. Especially if you have your own, some people, your office is your home, like
Right
it's
now,
an
yeah. Hmm.
yeah, and even with let's say if you have a center or a space, especially with the pandemic and everything, like you are still working out of your house, and if you have international people, you have to work out of your house, and so yeah, you can't separate things, and that's why there's so much more finesse, and burnout is more likely. And the great thing is it teaches us to be more balanced, and we have to have more consideration, I would say, than the average person working. But it takes its toll, right?
I went from doing, it's funny because I've had burnout like a few times, and I don't know if you ever get this, but I call it down for my regularly scheduled maintenance. And it used to happen maybe once or twice a year where all of a sudden my connection is like completely zapped. And I feel like, whoa, what is going on? And I describe it as feeling like a muggle, just very all of a sudden. I can't connect. I don't know what's going on. And it's like, Missy, take a vacation, take some time
Yeah.
off. You need that. And it used to maybe last like a week or two, and it would force me into some downtime. And that was fantastic. And I was doing a lot of readings, girl. At one point, I was doing like 20 to 30 sessions every week. I
Yeah,
mean, like
there's
an absolute insane. And it was like, because I was a guest at so many other places. So like I would go and work at, other people's shops and stuff. And I would have like, back to back. I would waitlist it everywhere that I went, and I would work like, 8 to 10 sessions per day. And then I have my private practice. Then I'm off doing house parties, and I'm doing like mediumship gallery events, and I'm doing like all of this stuff in one day. I actually hit a wall. And it was I got a hold of Lisa Williams because I was like, holy crap, I've never experienced anything like this. And I don't have training behind me. I don't have like a lot of teachers. I don't have um, most of those things. And she's like, girl, you're going to land your ass in the hospital. What are you doing? Like, you cannot do that amount of stuff. And so I cut it way back. And even since then, I've still cut it way back from there. I went down to 10. I'm no longer at other people's establishments. I took myself completely out of that. And still, man, the burnout is still so real. And that's why I say, like, I'm sure it's something bigger. And it really did help. Man, I did so much work around my house. Like, I redid my living room and my porch and like freshened up my space and got more organized and a little more scheduled for Missy Hart. Like I said, I fly by the seat of my pants. But um, that certainly helped. And then yeah, there's just still like, it's still kind of there ish. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's ish there. I'm okay to work, and I would never, like, you say you can't separate home from work. But
You
like
can,
in this
but
business,
yeah.
well, in this business, word of mouth referrals is everything. I don't advertise. I mean, I've been able to maintain a full-time schedule, working everywhere. I mean, it's the most incredible thing. And I'm so humbled that, like, people have enjoyed their session so much that the word just spreads. I've never had to do anything like to advertise. It just goes.
That's
And
a blessing.
it's the Kelly, I'm so humbled by this work. I mean, I really am. But with that, like, there's the pressure to not suck. I mean, like, because of that, I would never be in a space like where, holy crap, I'm not feeling like I can do this right now, like with burnout or something. You have to take yourself out of the ring for a little bit. You have no choice because you can't give shitty readings. I mean, your entire work
Exactly.
depends on it. So you're in a space where you're forced. And eight, like the number eight, you said I'm meant to have a business and stuff like that. That's also like a money number. So I have money. I'm born with money, like and it's more of a concern of money for me. So, like, to take myself out of work, I'm taking myself out of a paycheck. And I'm taking
Exactly.
myself out of all of these things. And then that starts like a whole other ball of wax that then I have to deal with. It's insane.
The thing that I think is wonderfully abundant, though, is sometimes eights struggle with like routine clientele because it's almost like they take on all this weight on their shoulders, and then they they are so fixated on doing a good job and doing things well that they sometimes have to step aside and isolate themselves to kind of like really get into that mentality. And sometimes they can separate themselves from other people in that process, and people don't know how hard it is, or people don't know what they're going through, or people seem to just assume that you have it figured out. But you actually have the enormous blessing of having actually quite a good amount of people around you willing to support you anytime that you go, okay, I'm open for shop. So that usually is a karma that I see with a lot of people with eights that you don't have to weather. You have to weather some other karmas, but you don't have to weather that one. And that's a fantastic. I want to just like let you know that.
Well, I
Like
appreciate
get that load off your back.
I've
Would you say?
never ever heard that spin like on it. I've never been said that like within it, like looking at numbers, but that's really intriguing. And like I think if I would have pushed for those clients, I think that if I would have been like manic about it and not just allowing things to happen as they happen, it probably would have been more of a struggle,
For
and
sure.
I'm still so abundant. I mean, like, I just, I truly, gosh, every time I talk about this, I just feel um, I'm so grateful. I mean, I am, because I really look at the other side as like my support system, and there's something bigger than me that, like this work, I can't take credit for most of this stuff. I mean, and I know that, like, I'm so honest about like who I am and what I'm capable of. Like my role in the work that I do is like I have the gift of gab. I can converse. I can, I can, well, interpreting messages not exactly your job, but I can interpret what I'm shown in a way that people can understand it. I bring it down. There's just like all of these things that I can pat myself on the back for, but the rest of it's so much bigger than me, and man. So it's like this is something too for anyone looking at doing stuff. Take yourself out of the equation. I would say that take yourself out. Like you gotta just slide over and let them do what they do.
For sure. And energy is everything, and there are reasons why things are happening to us on that energetic level where we go, oh well, isn't that interesting? I'm creating this. It's not happening to me. Like, I'm literally co-creating the good and the bad of what's happening in any sector in my life. But it sounds like, I want to definitely give you kudos. It sounds like you have tremendous abundance around your business, and to know that you can just take a breather and things are going to be a-okay, all right. Like, you know like, you have that on lock. Like,
I
you have
do.
that on lock.
I do, and I'm so lucky. Like, yeah, it's been I'm at that stage where I don't have to hustle anymore. Like I don't have to do all the I don't have to take those gigs that I don't necessarily want to take. I don't have to that's a really refreshing place to be. And I love doing all of those things in the beginning. And now it's like, man, like to go do you do like parties and stuff, like house parties where like you're sometimes the sideshow. I still do some house parties, usually more for mediumship as like a little mini gallery group or something. But girl, have you had wonky experiences doing house parties? Like I had so many, like not that they weren't fantastic, but a lot of people, like I'm literally there as the entertainment, and these people are partying it up, and they're
Oh yeah.
drinking and they're wasted, and those that's just it doesn't really mesh with what I do, and it makes the vibes weird, and um so I'm I get to be picky choosy. That's really nice. Like,
Oh yeah, for
have you
sure.
had
I
that?
think I'm pretty picky choosy. Like, I'm very open to everybody, but I go, oh, I'm not sure about that one. Like, I have that kind of radar. So I guess I'm pretty abundant in avoiding weird situations. That's where some of my abundance comes in. But a lot of times I invite people, if they want like a group reading, to encourage like a more even energy, to come and bring like the family or friends down to one of the space that I rent out of. So that avoids coming to their home turf too, and getting into a ball of chaos at times. That avoids that. And then other times I just learn about what the party is. So
I have had some moments. I mean, I really have. And it got to a point where it was like, man, you guys are learning all of like the dirty behind the scenes stuff today. Like I feel like
no, but that stuff that does happen. Like, for instance, um I've dabbled in different things. Sometimes I go, I kind of know how this is going to go, but I'm just going to try it. Right? Like, you might have gone to that party and go, this is going to be a weird night. This is going to be a weird night. So, I've done some things, and then I usually, let's say, how can I put that? I'm very protective of myself, so I don't drop myself in environments that are solo per se, but I've been a part of some like fairs, or I've been a part of some like different shops over the years, because I like to have tried different environments, right? To just like understand how people's business heads are, what decisions they make. It just made me better at what I did, right? And I've been in some environments where I'm like, ooh, I just don't like the vibe in here, and the clients that they would attract, they would always be bad, but there would always be a sprinkling of people that I would never intend to attract. Like sometimes people
yes.
they were drunk. Like I've had people show up where they're
Yes.
an appointment and I'm just like, okay, all right. Or people with very unstable moods, like they had severe, disabilities where they just weren't in check. That's okay if you have a disability, that's okay, but they weren't in check. Like they clearly were not in the right state. Does that make sense?
Right. And inviting, like doing a reading with someone like that, man, you're really inviting in some low stuff, and we have to feel those things. Like, I don't know about you, but like as we're reading people, we're connecting to whomever we're reading. So if someone is in that very like low kind of state, man, that's takes its toll.
It does. And so, like, we do have to be, in sorts, a manager of people. It depends on what our hat is on that day. If you're doing an event, you have, people to help you, but you are a manager of people as you're doing the event. If you're doing a one-on-one, you're still a manager of people of sorts, because some people, they don't show up in a way where they could even receive being ready for the reading.
Right.
They
Right.
they just one specific thing to be told to them, and that's why they showed up, and they're not in a good place. And you have to guide them, you have to talk with them, you have to open them up, and you have to know how to work with a very wide variety of people. And that is something I think that would cause burnout in this work. We're talking about different things that cause burnout. I know people, and let's say, how can I put this? I think the large majority, I'm just talking about the reading sphere, not the healing spheres per se, but a lot of people come into this work and they're usually like psychic or medium, right? And for the majority of services. And tell me how you feel about this, Missy. And the people who I think are more like mediumship forward, they're not as, I guess, how can I put that? They don't have to focus in on the client as much, but like sometimes that makes their client even rowdier, because
Okay,
a
wait.
psychic
I
reading.
don't think I'm following what you mean.
No, it's okay. I'm really jumping. I guess within a psychic reading, like you're one-on-one with that person and you're talking about their life. So if they're like unstable, you're addressing it directly. If it's a mediumship reading, it's about their loved one, so you don't necessarily have to address it directly. And I know a lot of mediums, since they don't have to address their clients directly per se, they get very burnt out because they're like, my client, like some of these clients, they're like, they're not paying attention to what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I have to wrangle them. I feel like I have to manage. Like, I just need a break.
And it's funny because it's probably one of my specialties, actually. And I'm not implying that we're something that gets me like in readings. I've really made it my business to teach people while they're getting a session, in a sense. So, like, especially with mediumship, where I'm like, I love taking them along for the ride and I love helping them connect the dots. Like, I actually thrive in that. The things that I don't like that cause me burnout is more like the people who only want to hear certain things. That one definitely kind of gets me. It's like, I know, or the people who I've had a lot of people like come more for psychic work than for mediumship, but I've had a lot of people who come and they try to tell me what my cards mean, or they try to tell me, and it's like, aren't if you're getting a reading, you should be open to different perspectives on the things that are happening, or at least the things that I'm offering. So that's something that kind of burns me out. Um,
Yeah. Can I
I
ask you?
I really do try to teach people though, so I enjoy that. There are things like sometimes, okay, so like sometimes like you're in a session and you're giving all of this fantastic, and the information always connects. I don't care what it is, it always connects in some way. It does. And sometimes you have people who like you said, they're not really in a spot to receive it. Sometimes they just don't know the information. And so what I do, like, I always invite people to ask family, like, hey, ask your mom about this, or ask your dad if they're still around, or someone, to see if this makes sense to them. And girl, I get messages all the time like, holy crap, I asked them, they knew exactly, what that was. So I think, yeah, I
It's,
think
it's
that there's just ways of working around it. I think you just
Oh,
gotta find your. And you know what though? Like it's funny because I'm blessed with a clientele. It's not that I don't see people more than once because I certainly do, but I have friends who are psychics who like work with the same clientele like almost weekly or monthly. You're welcome to see me like once or maybe twice a year, and then after that, like I don't recommend it. I just don't because it's, we need to allow time for things to evolve, and as for mediumship, in my opinion, nothing beats the first one. That is just maybe the first one with different people. I don't know, but I wouldn't discourage people from getting more than one done. But that's not exactly how I mean it. But
I know what you mean.
when that evidence is coming forward and those things and that closure is happening, that's going to happen big in that first session. And anything after that, they're really just showcasing how they're still so involved in the things that are happening right now. I think like mediumship readings part two kind of add more evidence that they're there and they're a support system. I mean, to me, dead people, like I call them dead peeps because I don't know, it's just how I talk about them. But like they just they they move into a part of your team on the other side. That's how I feel about them. Like they move in and they're a part of the things that are going on. I would never say that they're a spirit guide because clearly they're not. To me, that would be a different, like, a different realm in a sense. They're not angels because, well, there are actual angels. Um, so I think that, man, their continued support with the things that are going on right now just always amaze me. They're fantastic. They know all that stuff.
Let's yeah, I mean, there's just so much. I agree with you. We're gonna get into readings here in just a
Okay,
second,
let's do
everybody.
it.
So put your questions
These
down.
poor people are probably
Uh,
like, "What are you doing?"
No, hey, we're talking off the cuff. We're talking, what's pertinent. And I do think that for the majority of readings, that first reading is the one where you get the most stuff because there's a reason that they came to you. It's being fulfilled. When they come back, um, there's almost an energy that has been fulfilled. So that strength of connection is the
Right,
strongest in the first reading. Not always, but the vast majority. I agree with
right.
you. Um, Gosh, I wanted to ask you some other awesome things that like you mentioned too as well, but we're gonna go into readings. So I'm gonna have
All
to have
right.
you on again, right? Let's just
Yes, absolutely.
I'll remedy that. Okay. So all right. How I like to do it, Missy, is you just grab someone who like of the list of many whose name you're attracted to, question you're attracted to, and we just kind of vibe the energy. So we pick at random everybody. And then you can feel into it, you can pull a card, you can do whatever system you want. And we just kind of we tag team it. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Would you like to go first or second with pulling a name?
I'm looking at the comments right now.
Okay.
So if you have someone, I'm going to try to actually pull it up on my phone because I think it'll be easier than trying to
Sure.
do it on the
Okay.
screen.
Let's pull somebody. Just saying hello to everybody. Hello to um say hello to Chris again, Tracy, Terry, Jody, Dallas. Okay. This is interesting. So Dallas says, "Can I get a reading about my TV writing career?" That's really interesting. I like that question. Can I get a reading about my TV writing career? So we're going to tune into Dallas and let you know what we're going to get. All right.
So Dallas and a TV writing.
So the first thing that I'm vibing from Dallas's energy is I feel that she's wonderfully creative. I feel like she is like ambitious. I mean, yes, within her question there is this energy, but I'm really feeling this additionally from her personality. I feel like from when she was young, she always had like this extra energy, like these like, there's like these bursts of energy. She's very introspective, so she can be very quiet and keep to herself too as well, but she has all this like energy just to create and do. And what I really feel like is that you need to be showcasing who you are. If you want to be a part of TV, if you want to be a part of that entertainment industry, you got to entertain. So my advice is to just showcase your writing as much as you can. Put it out there so people can see it, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, um, whether you're handing out resumes to just you're always dropping off something, whether it's a poem, whether it's a creative piece, whether it's a story, whether it's a script, whether it's a screenplay. That's what I'm getting for you. Like, in order for someone to find you, someone has to find you. Okay, you can't play small. You can't. The last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to hand this off to Missy, is I feel like you have all this great energy, but when it comes to the career at this moment, you're a little shy about it. You're a little bit like, oh, I want to do it. I want to get it, but I want to play it cool. I want to, get this right. And it's just like, you just got to get out there, and not every time is going to be the coolest, most polished time. You just have to, again, hand it out, showcase it. If you don't have it 100% polished every single time, it's good to have things polished. It's okay. Just get it out. Let them see it. You're creative. You're going to get picked up. Okay.
Well, I'm just going to piggyback a lot of what you said. Like, what I was kind of feeling is that there's this flopping between vibes for me. So it's like, at the very first instance, I was like, man, fantasy things. It just kind of strikes me. And then, man, like big, hard hitting, kind of angry statement pieces then kind of whammed me too. And then, so I don't know, like, if I'm just being shown like different genres or different things that you're interested in. But then Kelly kind of said like that you need to, I don't remember how you put it, dang it, I tried to take notes, but
no worries.
I'm going to tell you to kind of like, really discover who you are. What are the things that you love? What are the things that you're passionate about? What do you want to write about? Do you want to, make things up? Or are you like, like more fiction, make things up, like, or are you more interested in the nonfiction? Are you interested in a medley of both? Because I got ADD. Like, when it comes to stuff, I love to learn.
I think like she just like does so many different, like, her, she packs it all in. Like, if it's fantasy, she makes it serious, like it's gritty, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like not, right? Like, I feel like she has so many elements to her. That's why you're picking up on it.
Yeah. So what I'm going to say is like, maybe try to, rein in, and I would never want you to lose those parts though. So like, when I'm saying this to you, I'm trying to look at the things that I feel might hold things back a little bit. And I think that like maybe trying to hone in on like one, maybe it's a specific project actually, when I think about it. Maybe hone in on like one specific project. Dallas, do you like work on a bunch of different projects at once? I guess that's a really good question.
Let's see. She says, so true. Like to write soap operas. Okay. And she says, thinking big. Okay. And then she said, before my mom passed away, she called me the next Shauna Rhimes.
Anger.
So that's
was
like
the first. I don't know who Shauna Rhimes is. I hate that.
I believe, tell me if I'm correct, but I believe, did you ever watch Grey's Anatomy?
I don't watch TV, so I suck.
Okay. Like she wrote and I think produced or like semi-directed the show. But it's a bigger,
I did
show.
watch it early on. So if that's like the reference, then I get it. Like,
she was in the cast. She was actually in the cast, but also she was like a triple threat. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So maybe try to hone in on one project, but then two, your feels. Girl, I'm sorry, but I feel anger. I just do. It is what I wrote down on the papers, that like sometimes we're just bubbling and boiling with emotion. And I don't think that that's a bad thing, but I do think that you probably, might need to just focus on that for a little bit too, and I'm not telling you to stop anything to do it. I just think that it is something that really dings me, honey, and I wrote it down. But because of that, you're flopping between vibes. You're flopping between feeling angry, you're flopping between this, you're flopping between that. So try to not flop so much and settle into one thing for a little bit. And I think you're going to find that things move a bit better. And one project, and a big one's fine.
I think that someone definitely is going to use her for her creative talents. I do think that like she channels her anger into her writing. That's why I think like when she's writing, I said the word gritty, like even though it's like, fantasy, like stories about people, like real stuff happens and sometimes it's like whoa like whoa, and sometimes if things are a little too whoa you won't get picked up because they're like we can't do that, right? So just like a heads up within that department. um but I do think it's so cool how gritty and real and to the point you are, and yeah, like put some healing in your life, put some healing in the script, and flesh out that character arc. And then the more healing there is in the story, the more justification there is for the anger. Okay. And the more human and the more like, ooh, okay, that's a full-bodied character. So I'm getting
She
some
actually
kind
says
of
that I'm talking over you, I'm sorry. She actually says that she's working on one script, which I think is really good, and maybe it's some of the dynamics in the script that we're picking up on. That would be
Okay.
like pretty cool, actually. Like, who knows? Yeah.
Can you though understand, Dallas, that like the way that you write, like you're very like dramatic and you like to get gritty, you like to go like let's take this all the way, this story, let's make it, where people are going through stuff, and it's just like you're writing things in a way where you're trying to give it like kind of this real spin, this grit. Okay, so you can let us know how you feel about that. But I do think that she's tied to the creative industry. She's tied to the arts industry. So put yourself out there, slap down your script, like loud and proud, say I do this, and just every chance you get. Okay, she said, "Oh yeah, I love to write about other people's drama." Okay, so if you're going to crank up the anger, then crank up the healing. That's what I say to you, and people are going to understand why the intensity is there. Okay. So anything else, Missy, you want to add on that?
No, I think that's good, actually. I got good feels for the future, too, for sure.
Instead of my own, I live in a group home with my younger brother and foster care system. I think that you have what it takes. I think that you have what it takes. Just keep speaking. This is who I am. I'm a writer, and keep presenting things to people, or keep even offering to do things with your talents with writing. If somebody is doing some type of whatever, you're like, oh, I can help you advertise, I can write it like this, let's showcase that. Use your writing skill everywhere you go, and God will open up a plan where that is you 24/7. That's what I have to say. Okay, so you pick away, Missy. I want to go. I love her energy. I wanted to go into it more. I was just sticking with the question, but Missy, you.
Okay, so this last person here, is it Hartinden?
Yeah,
Something
I think
about
so.
please guide what spiritual gifts I have and how to work on it. Don't let other people like really tell you what your spiritual gifts are. If you feel that you're connected, you're connected. Even if you don't feel like you're connected, you're connected. You cannot be separated from that which you are. We are all spiritual beings having a human physical experience. And so, of course, you have spiritual gifts. Anybody on here, and that's your question, of course, you have spiritual gifts. Everybody is intuitive. That is number one. Not everybody is honed. Maybe not everyone is open to trusting their gut. Maybe not everyone is open to like developing it, because it does take development. Like I was not a trained psychic or medium, but I spent years and years and years honing my gifts and developing, what it was that I knew that I had. And what did I have? It started off like completely ridiculous, where I always knew when there was a cop behind me. And I know that's like so dumb, but I was a
No, it's
pot
not.
smoker. I was a pot smoker, a big time pot smoker when I was a teenager, right? And so it was really freaking useful to
Yeah.
have that radar. so I could, be careful. I always knew who was calling when the phone rang, pre-caller ID. There was, I mean, looking back, the hindsight, like, man, I did just know some stuff, right? But it started off as some pretty insignificant, odd things. And, so I would invite anyone to really start paying attention to what your gifts are. I had a knowing inside of me, and I've developed that so I can, expand that out into knowings for other people and kind of reading energy and all sorts of stuff. Like, so what do I think your personal psychic gift is? I'm gonna have to go with feels, because like empathic abilities and feeling other people's things, that is what stands out to me. And so I think, to really shape that and develop it properly, it starts with an awareness of yourself. So what's yours and what's actually not yours. You have to know what your normal emotions are to life. You have to know what your normal reactions are to life and things happening, so you can discern when it's actual intuition or just your personal reaction or response to something. What do you think, Kelly?
With Hartinden, like the vibe that I'm getting for her is I get like this nurturing, like maternal vibe. And so like you talked about how like she's a feeler. And one of the things that I just keep seeing with her energy is that like I keep seeing like a home, and she's just making, whether it's the physical home or the energy of family, like just like it sounds interesting, but like cleaner, pure. Like she balances things. She can make things. Um, it might be even attached to the way things look and feel. Like she just makes things like more beautiful. Like how you transform spaces and you make people feel warm and welcome. And I feel like she can help make people feel understood, and she can help make people feel just more at peace. So I think she has like really good like physical transmutation energy, where you can transform spaces and you can make people feel different things because you go, oh, this could be better. And that's because you're sensitive to that energy. So I'm getting that. It's connected to home, it's connected to family, and it's connected to transforming of spaces. That's what I feel like for her.
Which I love, because either way, like, when your home feels good, like, yeah, it's feel good stuff. I love it.
Yeah, and I just feel like she's always kind of, some people have told her maybe like her head has been in the clouds, but I feel like she's always had like this really good imagination, and to just tap into your daydreams of, what you want to bring more of to your life. Like sprinkle that into your life, because people might not understand the idea, but once it's done, they go, "Oh, this feels good." And they don't understand how the idea was formed, but they go, "Oh, this is really nice," or "Oh, I like that." So that's what I'm getting for you. Okay. Um, and she said, "Okay." So let us know if that makes sense, Hartinden. Thank you so much. Okay, let's take another person. Let's see. Oh, interesting. So Joanna, I'm looking at Joanna Nelson. She says, I think my 5.5 month old son sees spirit. Um, Someone or people in our apartment, but I can't pick up on who they are. I've had a feeling at least once he has seen my mom, and another time my husband's uncle, but I can't always pick up on it. I feel like my gifts are not as strong, maybe because of the sleep deprivation. Okay. So connecting to seeing spirit, her child seeing spirit, and she's, I guess, a new mom. So she's like, I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm trying to figure out who it is. So let me just tune in. And you let me know if you got anything too, Missy.
Okay.
So what I'm picking up on is I just keep seeing like this smaller apartment. I don't know if it's one bedroom. I'm just seeing this smaller apartment, and I'm just seeing like the smaller kitchen, and I think it's like a rug floor. There's a rug carpet, excuse me, there's carpet floor in a certain section. I think there's actually like more than one surface in that apartment though. But I'm taken kind of to this carpet floor, and I don't know if that's like where you kind of set up things for your son when you're doing things within the apartment. But I feel like this is a very transitional time for you, and I feel like family is coming in to support you. So you were talking about your mom, but I'm seeing not only mom, but like grandmother is there and grandfather is there. But I'm seeing like grandma and mom are like very much checking in on you, and it's connected to like your side. Um, I do feel like you have a lot of spirit activity regarding family. So it's very positive who's coming to visit in your apartment. That's what I'm feeling like. And I feel like, your son giggles and he laughs, and then that kind of gets you wondering like, well, yeah, like who is that? And he's just he's receiving love from his grandma and his grandma and his grandfather. Like that's honestly what I'm getting. And I feel like this apartment isn't going to be one that is going to be kept for as long. And I feel like, how can I put it? I feel like this specific apartment, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, is not the right fit. Like I feel like the lighting isn't very good in the kitchen area, and I'm just like, I feel like you could have a better environment and a better apartment. So moving to another apartment, I don't know when that's possible. I'm not tuning into that piece, but I'm just tuning into the transitional nature of this specific apartment, and your son is responding to his family. Okay, so you're having family support during this transitional time. Okay.
Okay, so first I want to ask if any of those loved ones, breathing issues is honestly what really stands out to me. So the lady who had the heart and or breathing issues, because I'm taking smack dab into that chest area, pretty sure it comes up for me though. So breathing definitely feels like it would have been an issue. I do think that one of your people was a smoker at some point, because I can actually see the smokes, and I feel like I want a cup of coffee too. So I'm just trying to show you like exactly who's there. I did pick up on an older gentleman as well. And honestly, what stands out to me there is a kind of a dirty look. And what strikes me about that is like, some people just look a little more unkempt, like they don't shave their face all the time, or they don't whatever, and they got like some stubble, or I don't know, just kind of something along those lines for me. I don't know if someone was actually a mechanic at some point or worked with cars, or I don't know. I just have like that hot oil kind of smell that reminds me of garages or factories, even, or places like that. And then all of a sudden, so like I'm getting this and seeing like this grouping of people, and then I'm legit taken to the movie Coco. Have you ever seen the movie Coco, where there is, they're showcasing the other side from like the Mexican Day of the Dead kind of something? Have you seen this movie? It is fantastic. And I don't know that just really stands out. And I think some of it is just kind of letting you know that there's a life on the other side. And it just, I don't know, that just really stands out to me. So if you haven't seen the movie Coco, I'm going to invite you to do so. I don't feel
Oh,
like
she
there's
said she
anything.
has.
What's that?
Oh, she says she has.
Okay.
She understands about the cocoa.
So I would just tell you to, for some reason, that it's just a movie that bounces in my brain here. It does. And so maybe, put it on, and I have no idea why. I really don't. It just, that's what's on my brain. So I'm just going to invite you to do that. I do really want you to know, though, I don't feel like there's anything bad there. I think there's a good little crowd there, though. I do. I do.
Yeah. So I do agree with Missy. There's a good crowd there, And so I didn't pick up on the 3-bedroom apartment, but can you understand that the kitchen though is like a little bit smaller? I don't know. I'm just seeing the kitchen. I did see it connected to the living room where he played. That makes sense to me. And I just want to say, in reference to the people that are coming in for your son and for you, I just keep hearing like this reference to like, hey, you little slugger, you know. So someone loved baseball. Maybe grandfather loved baseball. I don't know if you always watched it on the TV, but there's this reference to baseball, and there's this reference to your grandfather definitely coming in to check on his grandson. Very attentive. I felt a lot of maternal energy around in the house. Actually, like I was picking up on more than one female, but like the grandfather is very attentive to his grandson. Okay. All right. Thank you for understanding.
Did any of them have breathing issues? That really does stand out to me. Like with that breathing, you're very concerned. Concerned. I'm not concerned. I am curious. It really stands out to me.
I'm seeing if she puts anything. I don't think there's anything bad. I had a feeling. Yeah, she said it. She had a feeling that it was mostly family. She hasn't commented on the other thing, so I'll look out for it. And then let's do one really quick one, and that will be the last of the reading show. So I'm gonna have you pick one, Missy. If you want, I can pick one too. If you want to. My mom's cousin said she had cancer. Also, my grandmother. That's what she says. That's all I have from that. She said my mom's cousin did. Oh, the breathing problem. My mom's cousin did. She had cancer, and also my grandmother. So those are the people with the breathing problems.
So Holly, that's what I was looking at. So Holly actually was talking about having a similar situation, and I was curious if we weren't kind of double dipping there, because I had seen it like a little bit, like briefly in the question thing. So I am gonna go for Holly. So Holly, let me get there.
And then this is going to be a shorter one with Holly.
Holly, is there something that you want to ask? So it looks like her grandmother's in the hospital right now with that breathing stuff and on a breathing tube. And that's where the stuff coming up, because I could feel everything like right here. So like that tube kind of would make sense to me in that, in just right there. And so I guess you were, first of all, you have a similar situation to them. My 1-year-old will stare at her upstairs walkway and just say, ew, will also roar and charge as if she's trying to scare whatever away. If you feel like you have something there that does not belong, my go-to is always to just ask your peeps to take it away. Kelly, I don't know what you do, but I like to make things really simple. I mean, of course, you can sage and you can, do that kind of stuff. But for me, if you have someone on the other side that ask them to clear that crap out of there. Have you ever tried that, Kelly? Have you?
I usually ask my angels or archangels. I go, hey, can you help me clear this energy? I need
get it out.
Help. Or I visualize like a bunch of blue light or like white lightning or white fire to purify the energy. I'm like, let's do this. Let's get this out.
Yeah. So I do want to say, like, as far as the grandmother being in ICU and that kind of stuff, she's certainly out of it at this point. And I mean, like, watching the things that are happening. There does actually feel like there's a little bit of a tense vibe. Maybe that surrounds family or something like that. But I think she's asking for that to kind of tone down a little bit. I don't know if you have an aunt, but I kind of wonder, to be honest with you. So just, I do want you to know that she feels comfortable to me. I mean, I will say that did not feel so before that, but and very accepting of where she's at too. I do want to say that. Like, I just feel like, there's a lot of acceptance to the space that she's in right now. That is honestly just what I'm going to say. I think there's a lot of acceptance there where she is the grandmother. So I feel like, like the aunts, there might be like a tension, or there might be like a little bit of a weird stuff, and grandma just get like the eye roll, like the, oh, Jesus, like that's okay. But just again, know that she really is okay, and there's an acceptance of where she is. If she winds up not coming back into the absolute physical here, know that she left on her terms. I think that there is still choice here, though, which does intrigue me. So if she does, then yeah, I got funky vibes on this. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I think that she knows that she's not coming back to being able to fully recover. And I think this is where we're at, kind of the choice. All right, Kelly, what are you getting?
The thing that I was connecting to was just her people in heaven, and how she has more than one lady in heaven for her. And so she was talking about like two aunts as well. And of like kind of the three people she's referencing, I feel like they all have different personalities. Like at least two of them have like vastly different personalities. And it's kind of funny, like in heaven they're like all having like lunch together, but it's like there's this connection to like this 50s diner, like there's this connection to the 50s. And one of them is just like this straight talker, tells it like it is, bigger personality, and the other one is like actually very like soft spoken, and like just is content with just like sitting on the side and listening, and just says things a little bit more quieter. So I'm just aware of like the different personalities, but everyone's together. And they're with Holly. They one of the ladies coming in for Holly is just talking about how they want Holly to, they say it like within jest, like this is the one with the bigger personality. They talk about like how they want you to kind of like almost wake up and see the truth of things, like come on Holly, like they want you to be perceptive. They're like, things are right in front of you. Okay, go get it. Okay, I want you to see what's in front of you, and it's regarding people and regarding just your pursuits. So they're like protective of you, and I feel like this is like connected to like the aunt, like because these two ladies, but it's like again the more like outspoken one. She's kind of like a little funny. She's just like, she wants you to kind of take things. It's almost like, not that she wants to be cynical, but she's like, I want you to like look alive. And she's like, we're protecting you. Okay, we're protecting you. Okay, we're gonna have your back. We want you to look alive and continue to size things up, because we're protecting you. And but we need you to catch things as they're happening. We can't do all the work. They're doing that in a funny way, okay? In a funny way. They just want to encourage you to like make the best decisions, and to really think about things, and not to be so trusting as people. I think like that you're naturally trusting of people. You thought the slugger comment earlier was grandma. Someone was saying hello little slugger, and it was in connection to a baby. So just, that's for somebody. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to say for Holly is, I'm just going to pull one card for you, Holly. I pulled the summer card for you, and during this time, your aunts, the one with the really strong personality, and grandma, they're watching over you. They're gonna help you. They want you to enjoy yourself. They want you to not be so stressed out. How can I put it? They want you to be perceptive. They want you to work hard. They want you to not be so trusting of situations. That's true. But they also want you just to have a good time and not to overthink things. So learn about things. Don't overthink things as you're learning about them. Tune into your heart. You're really good about that. And just ask for their guidance, because they're not afraid to tell you what they think. So just tune into what would grandma do, what would aunt do. Okay, that's what I'm getting.
And grandma says thanks for the prayers. So that's what I'm gonna, and then I'm done with that.
Okay. what is something that you would like to leave the audience with, Missy? I always give somebody the last word. Before I do that, I want to let people know that you can catch Missy on WLTK-DB. She has 2 shows. She has Over the Target, and she has the Good Shit Show, I believe, right?
The Good Shit Show.
The Good Shit Show.
Show. That is on
Yeah.
Friday mornings at 9 a.m. Of course, you can watch the replay whenever. I just totally hit my thing. Parting words.
Where can they find you, first of all? So they can find you on the 2 shows that
Right now on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, Missy Hart Intuitive Medium, until I publish my website that I'm still dragging my feet on. Gosh, my parting words. I have so many. But right now, I guess in this energetic climate that we are finding ourselves living in, is to really understand that there's so much more going on behind the scenes of our life, and that things are also very intentional. And of course, while we are creating so much of it. Some of it we're just meant to experience. And so if you find yourself in some good times or bad times, just know that that's all led and guided and supported, and to really have faith in the things that you can't necessarily see. That's what I would tell everyone. Have faith in the things that you can't see, and have faith in, the other side, whatever you want to call that, I guess, God or your angels, whatever. Damn, are they working for you, even on those days that you swear that they're not? And things are always so much better than we see, and sometimes we just need a fresh perspective, like look at things a little bit differently to find that good stuff. That is what I'm giving everyone.
So look at things differently, find the good stuff. You can catch Missy on her 2 shows too as well. And thank you everybody for joining us. If you didn't get your readings, or you didn't get your questions answered, there's always a chance to do that on Missy or my show going forward. So we'd love to have you join us. Thank you so much, everybody. Go with love, luck, light, and don't forget to live. Take care. See you next week.